Hey, is soup on your meals list regularly? Hi, I'm Bernice Hunt, and I am a brain health specialist. I work with women just like you who are starting to notice a few memory issues, and I help you to stay sharp so that as you age, you can still travel, have fun with your grandkids, and experience new adventures without missing a beat. As a wellness coach for over 12 years, I'm asked to make a lot of suggestions. And I don't know about you, but I all know we have our preferences, but I don't think I've ever met anyone who didn't like some kind of soup. Did you catch my video a few days ago? I did a video about soup a few days ago, and it talked about the 3 benefits that soup has, especially for your brain. So if you didn't catch it, go to my Facebook channel. No, go to my Facebook page, Keep Your Brain Sharp, or my YouTube channel, Keep Your Brain Sharp, and you can find it there. Today, I wanted to talk more specifically about the best kinds of soups, and also I wanted to talk about what you should and what you should soup. Okay, because you know what? All soups are the same. Now, they might taste good, but experts are telling us that some soups could be thought of as liquid junk food. So you got to be careful with soup, as with almost anything else. You need to be careful about what kind you're talking about, okay? Because soup does potentially have a lot of great things for your brain. You can put practically anything in it. You can create soup from just about anything, and it can be satisfying and fulfilling and loaded with antioxidants, vitamins, fiber, protein, just about whatever you want in there. You can get that in the soup. So what's the best kind of soup you should have? Homemade soup that you make from scratch. You remember what from scratch is, right? When you're cooking, that means you talk with the basic ingredients and you concoct it yourself. So I'm not talking about buying canned soup on the shelf. I'm not talking about store-made, ready-made, microwavable versions of soup. I'm not even talking about restaurant soups. I'm talking about soups that you go into your kitchen and you put on all those little ingredients and you make it from scratch, from the bottom up. That's the best kind of soup that you can make, okay? Because did you know something else? Cooking anything, especially from scratch, is also a brain exercise. It does a lot for your brain. We're talking about something they call executive functioning, where you have to plan stuff, you have to organize stuff, you have to improvise and problem solve, you have to calculate. You are really using your brain and exercising those brains and making those connections, those pathways, and nurturing and maturing those new brain cells while you're doing all that. And you do all that when you're cooking, especially when you're cooking from scratch. It also gives you an opportunity to exercise with something called neurobics. Neurobics is exercising your brain, where you're doing something that you routinely do, but you're doing it in a different way, taking different senses and putting them in the forefront. So when you're cooking, a lot of cooking, you're tasting things to see if it needs a little more of this or a little more of that, drawing conclusions with that. You are smelling to see if something's done, or how if it's at the aroma that's there, see when it's ready, all of that good stuff. You're sampling things a little bit as you go. My nephew was telling me one of the best cooks, or was that my nephew or my son? One of them, maybe both of them, were telling me a good cook always samples as they go. So they're using neurobics. They're taking not just what they see or what they feel, but they're using their other senses to determine outcomes. Okay, so that's neurobics. Also, memory and recall. Remember how much you put in that last time? You remember how to make grandma's favorite cornbread, whatever. So you're pulling up memory. So you're giving your brain a lot of exercise and that's something that your brain needs to sustain those brain cells, the ones that are already there, for as long as possible. Keep them sharp. And also the new ones that crop up, to make sure that they are nurtured and have a chance to mature, make those connections to take the place of the older ones when they die out. So cooking will actually help you do that. Okay. So that's another good reason why you want to do homemade from scratch as much as possible. And did you know that all soups don't have to be hot? There are also cold soups. So you can have soup all year round. Although I eat hot soup year round anyway, but if you don't want, if it's too hot for you to have hot soup, there are a lot of cold soups. And the thing is that you want to make sure that you're putting in some good stuff. So here's the question. What do you want to put in it? Well, for your brain especially, you want things like beans, lentils. You also want root vegetables, or honorary root vegetables, what we think of root vegetables. You want carrots and sweet potatoes and squashes and potatoes, things like that. You also want what we call alliums. They're largely the onion family, like onion and garlic and chives and shallot and leeks, those kind of things in there. Yeah. And you want, of course, your spices, and spices can do so much good for your brain. They are full, loaded, jam-packed with antioxidants. And you want leafy greens. Okay. So those are the things you want to include in your different varieties of soups that you use. And although you do want salt, you don't want an excessive amount of salt, and that's part of the problem with canned soups and ready-made soups and also restaurant soups. You don't want an excessive amount of salt, and you really don't want a lot of milk-based or cream-based soups or cheeses in there, because when you start doing that, what you're getting is a lot of calories, a lot of fat, a lot of sodium, and those are things that your brain does not need. Now, you do want some salt, because salt has its place. You do want some salt, but you want to start using a lot of variety of spices. Experiment with it. Try out different things. Put all those brain healthy spices in there when you can, because your brain will love it. Okay. And there's so many different soups to choose from, and they can be so very, very, very good for you. Now, it's a learning process. And like I said, you want to experiment. You want to test this and that, because you're going to find some stuff that you truly, truly love. You're going to find some things that are really, 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 really good for your brain. So when you're making soup, especially from scratch, it can be both nourishing and nurturing when you cook it at home from scratch. So if you want a list of the soups to eat, I have a handout in my research library called Eat This, Not That, with regard to soups. I'm happy to share that with you. Just go, if you're not already a member of the research library, you can get free access to it by just going to my website, keepyourbrainsharp.com, and you get free access to that research library. This is video number 126. Make soup worth your while. You will find that there on the video 126, and you can get going with that and see what soups you should, and which soups you probably should not eat a lot of. Okay. Because your brain's destiny is in your hands.